is made possible by a grant from GTE Corporation. At GTE, it's amazing what we can do together.
There's a story that goes like this. Sometime in the late 1500s, Galileo Galilei left his house just down the street here in Pisa and headed for the tower. He had a novel idea, and the leaning tower, yes, even then it was leaning, was just what he needed. 400 years ago, the conventional wisdom about how the world works hadn't changed since the ancient Greeks. They said a heavy object falls faster than a lighter one. Galileo's novel idea was to actually drop two objects and see which one landed first. In other words, to do an experiment. He was also probably the first one to say, don't try this at home. Here goes. The difference in air resistance between the two balls means they don't quite land together. But for Galileo, they were close enough to suggest that all objects fall at the same rate. Now, there are spoil sports who say that Galileo never did drop the balls from this tower or from any other tower. But the story has come to symbolize the birth of experimental science. Ask a question, do an experiment, try to figure out why you saw what you saw. For 400 years now, experimental science has changed the world. And with any luck, it may help save the tower where it all began. One of the world's greatest tourist attractions, the tower has actually been closed to tourists since 1989. Its lean had become so alarming that a commission was appointed to save it. The commission's man on the spot is Paolo Heinegger. When did the tower first start to lean?
Well, actually, it started to lean from the beginning, even during construction.
When did they start construction?
They started construction in 1173, and the start of the construction is a funny one in the sense that it did not proceed regularly from the beginning up to the completion.
What, did they built it for a while and then they stopped?
Yes, the first stage of the construction was performed from 1173 to 1178, and let's say the construction was stopped more for political reasons.
So they had like a strike?
We do not have precise information about this. But anyway,
they didn't have airlines then, so they had to strike the tower.
It was a matter of money as well.
When work stopped in 1178, the tower was about half built. A century passed before work began again and the main tower was completed. This was when the leaning began, as the tower's weight compressed the clay beneath it more on the south side than the north. Another century passed before the bell chamber was added. With the tilt now 2 degrees, the bell chamber was set at an angle to compensate. Since then, the tower has continued tilting, and today the top is 15 feet out of the vertical. To stop things getting worse, 600 tons of lead ingots were recently put on the north side to squash it down a little. It's ugly, but it's working. Have you actually brought it back?
Yes, the tower was, let's say, this 600-ton weight has caused a horizontal movement at the top of the tower of about 20 millimeters, almost an inch.
Almost an inch?
At the top.
No, it's leaning that way, maybe 15, 16 feet, and you brought it back an inch.
Yes, correct. But it is a very small, very small...
If I was standing at the top, I don't know if I'd notice that. At the bottom, the 10-degree tilt makes just entering the tower alarming. This way, I'm already falling over here. This is amazing. I mean, your tendency is to want to follow the building. Well, what's all this in here?
Well, here you can see some of the instrumentation.
The tower is bristling with scientific instruments to measure even the tiniest movement. Something that goes up that tube? What is that?
Correct. That is a pendulum.
The pendulum is the instrument that really counts, because this is what measures the tower's tilt. Hanging from a beam near the top of the tower, it's hidden in what looks like a plastic drain pipe. What's this thing over here on the wall, this box on the wall?
Those are strain gauges.
The strain gauges sense stress in the walls. Sorry, I didn't mean to lean against the wall here, pardon.
This is the dangerous side.
I know. This strain gauge is measuring a several hundred-year-old crack. It's on the southern wall, the one stressed most by the lean, and also the side most affected by the seasons.
Parts of the instruments.
In summer, the sun's warmth slightly expands the stones on the south, pushing the whole tower a little more upright. So it's the winters that are dangerous.
When it freezes, it means that the tower kind of freezing. The stones there on the southern side, which is the dangerous side, decrease in volume, so it tilts even more.
It tilts more. So what's a good day to go up?
15th of July, midday.
Today's a good day? Are you sure? How would I know today's a good day? Do you have an instrument in here that will tell me today's...
You must trust me. Then we go up and then we see what happens.
What could happen almost at any moment is that the tower literally explodes. Stress at the level of the first balcony threatens to burst the stones outward, collapsing the entire tower in seconds. Okay, I'm set.
Okay,
Andiamo.
we can go. Andiamo. This elevation,
Of course, it was to the likely explosion point that Paolo wanted to take me.
dangerous or preoccupying.
To add to the excitement, the balcony has no railing.
I'd like to hook on now, pardon me. Where do we hook on here?
Yes, here, to this rope. So
Thank you.
There.
Like that?
The same, then
okay.
we can walk safely.
This way?
We can walk safely this way around the tower.
These steel bands wrapped around the tower, 5 pairs of them in all, are another temporary fix. They're meant to hold the stones in like a corset.
They are embracing actually the external wall of the structure, and they are meant to contain the risk of local explosion of material.
Oh, that's nice. Good. I'm so glad to hear that. That's embracing the structure so it doesn't explode. Good.
Yes.
Of course, the source of the tower's problems isn't up here. It's underneath it, where the south side has sunk more than the north. So experiments are being done to find a way to make the north side sink, to even things up a little. One idea being tested is to drill out some of the sand from under the tower. Another idea involves giant electrodes. In clay, water molecules have a small positive charge, so the water would be drawn out, allowing the clay to compress. Either plan would also employ anchors sunk deep beneath the tower, tugging down on the northern side. But whatever plan is employed, it won't take out so much lean that it's no longer the leaning tower.
The tower will never be straight up and down.
Cannot be straightened out.
And is that because you can't do it, or it won't be such a good tourist attraction?
No, basically it is because it has been built like a big banana.
Right,
So
I noticed that.
so if you try to bring it up to a vertical position, you will probably fall over
The other way.
In fact, the goal is to tilt the top of the tower back no more than about 3 of the 15 feet it's leaning now. That way, the leaning tower should be able to lean safely for perhaps another 800 years.
No wonder we love bright days.